Pull up a stool, man. Let's get straight to work on the bench and fix the single most annoying problem in your guitar rig right now.
Look, we've all done it. You're playing through a great high-gain amp or a killer overdrive pedal. You want to clean up your tone for a verse, so you reach down, roll back your guitar's volume knob to about a 6 or 7, and then, suddenly, your tone turns into pure mud. The top-end clarity just completely vanishes, leaving you with this unusable, dark, muffled mess. It's frustrating, it completely kills your dynamics, and, frankly, it ruins the song.
I hear it all the time in the shop. You think your pickups are bad. They aren't. Stop blaming your gear and throwing your hard-earned cash at boutique cables, because you are just fighting standard physics. In this explainer, we're going to beat physics right at its own game.
All right, Part 1, the pure mud phenomenon.
Let's look under the hood. Inside your guitar, your volume pot acts as a variable resistor. When you've got it dimed at 10, the gate is wide open. But as you turn it down, it restricts that signal flow, bleeding it to ground to drop the volume. Simple enough, right? But here is the catch. Your 10 or 20-foot guitar cable has natural capacitance. That's just its ability to store an electrical charge. And when you combine the variable resistance of your volume pot with the capacitance of your cable, well, those two electrical properties absolutely hate each other. Check out this bench test on a standard Strat. That top black line, that's your volume wide open at 100%. But as you roll it back to 50% or lower, take a look at the right side of the graph. The resonant peak totally flattens out, and your high frequencies take a massive nosedive right off a cliff.
Moving on to Section 2, Physics of the Tone Suck. Let's dig into it.
See, you aren't imagining things. When you roll that volume pot down, you accidentally create what electrical engineers call an RC low-pass filter. Your pot's resistance and the cable's capacitance weld themselves together into a circuit that literally blocks your high frequencies, and it only lets the muddy lows pass through to your amp. And man, it gets worse. A standard 250K volume pot hits its maximum internal impedance of 62.5K ohms right as you roll it down toward the middle of its sweep. You are throwing a literal, physical wall of resistance in front of your signal, right exactly when you need it to be articulate. The resulting disaster is total tone death. Your cable gets decoupled from the pickup. Your cutoff frequency drops way down to around 3.6 kHz, which completely destroys your resonant peak. Basically, the resistance blocks your high frequencies from escaping the guitar, sending all that beautiful, crisp treble straight to the ground. And that right there, that's your mud.
Which brings us to Section 3, the capacitor bypass ramp.
Fortunately, fixing this doesn't require a routing template or a boutique tech. The solution costs less than $1 in parts. I'm serious, literal pocket change. It's called a treble bleed circuit.
Look at the blueprint here. By soldering a small capacitor, or maybe a capacitor and a resistor in parallel, right across the input and output lugs of your volume pot, you build a physical bypass ramp. As the low frequencies get restricted by the turning pot, your high frequencies bypass the resistance. They jump right over the gap through the capacitor.
Check out the difference with a Fender-recommended bypass installed on that same Stratocaster. You can roll your volume all the way down to a 2, and the peak stays perfectly intact. Your tone stays crisp, articulate, and chiming, exactly like it does at 10.
So let's get our hands dirty on the bench. Heat up your iron. Locate your volume pot inside the control cavity. Identify lug 1, which is the input from your switch, and lug 2, the output to your jack. Then you just weld the components directly across them. A little flux, a steady hand, and you're done.
Now for Section 4, series versus parallel wiring.
Now, if you add a resistor to control the flow of those highs, you basically have two main tools for the job. The parallel Duncan mod on one side and the series Kinman mod on the other. They both work to save your treble, but man, they feel very different under your fingers.
First up, the Duncan mod. Wiring the resistor alongside the capacitor in parallel acts like a speed limit for your highs, so they don't get too harsh or brittle at low volumes. It evens out the extreme brightness of just using a lone capacitor, and it flattens the EQ really smoothly. But be warned, it can significantly alter your volume pot's taper, making the volume drop feel a little abrupt. You'll notice everything suddenly happens between 0 and 3.
Then you've got the Kinman mod. This is wiring the resistor end-to-hand with the capacitor in series. This preserves the natural feel of your volume sweep. It broadens the resonance peak and retains a lot more bass presence as you turn down. For my money, it feels a whole lot more natural and organic when you're dynamically riding that volume knob during a gig.
All right, Section 5, dialing in your specs.
So what parts do you actually need to buy? Well, no Treble Bleed choice is perfect. Compromise is always necessary. That is true Bent's wisdom right there. If you use a massive 30-foot coiled cable, you've got way more capacitance to fight. So you're going to need different capacitor values than a guy who's running a 10-foot cable straight into a fuzz pedal.
But hey, I won't leave you hanging. Here is your workbench cheat sheet, showing what the big names use. PRS uses a 180 picofarad capacitor with no resistor. Seymour Duncan goes with a 1 nanofarad cap and a 100K parallel resistor. The Fender Tone Saver, that's 1.2 nanofarads with a 130K series resistor. And Lindy Fralin uses 2.5 nanofarads with a 200K parallel resistor. This table right here gives you the perfect starting point for your own rig.
My advice? Grab some alligator clips, test these values out on your rig before you commit, solder your favorite one end, and get your top end tone back. Stop fighting your volume knob, weld the bypass.
You've conquered the volume pot, but it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other invisible physics are quietly killing your tone right now while you sit there blaming your pickups? Think about it. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and make sure to subscribe to the Tone Manual for more workbench wisdom. See you next time.